Hello and welcome to the Irish Hunting Podcast, the no bullshit podcast for the outdoor enthusiasts. If you're into hunting, fishing, fine wines and even finer foods, you've come to the right place. So pull up a chair. Hello and welcome back to the Irish Hunting Podcast. On this week's episode number 71, when it comes to badass hunters, they don't come much more badass than this guy. We've got Adam Grenda on talking all things hunting in Alaska. This guy is a bush pilot in Alaska, hunts Kodiak bear, traps wolves, brown bears, you name it, this guy does it. He is living the dream. So yeah, this is an interesting one. So crack open a beer, sit back, relax and enjoy. Andy Grogan, how are you getting on, man?
Brenny McGuire, how are you, man?
What is happening?
Oh, sure, look at man, trying to grab the devil by the tail.
I'm sure it has to be done, lad. Has to be done. What's been going on? We're going to have a very, 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 very interesting character on now shortly, and I cannot wait for that now. And I don't say that lightly.
Yeah, man, to tell you the truth, he's look like brothers from another mothers.
yeah, honest to God. No, man, this man is way cooler than me. Way.
Yeah, man. But look, he's yeah. I was listening to some of his podcasts during the week, man, and yeah, he's phenomenal.
Yeah.
We're big fans here in the Irish Hunting Podcast, and can't wait to have him on. Some big game animals over there, and we'll be getting to delve into all of that a little bit later.
Absolutely, man. What's been going on with you in the world of Anthony Grogan? What's been happening? We're getting ever so close. Deer licenses are in.
Deer licenses are in. Yours are in last week, wasn't it?
It was only in yesterday. It came through, didn't it? Yeah.
Oh, so now it's shit is getting real, man. Shit is getting real. So we're only 2 weeks out?
2 weeks out, yeah. Honest to God.
Less
than 2 weeks. Yes, isn't it mad?
Jeez. Oh man. Yeah, man. I've the most boring. You've a little bit more hunting stories this week. But slightly hunting related. I'm flying around Galway here doing. I was actually up in our own neck of the woods during the week, but I'm back down in Galway now. And I got fitted for contact lenses. So this is to help me during the hunting season because I have a pain in my bollocks with these glasses, man.
Yeah, man.
They're just fucking horrendous. I can't wear a balaclava. I'm out stalking, and because the fucking glasses fog up, and then every time I seem to put up a scope, it starts to rain. So I've fucking windshield fucking drips down my glasses, and then you're trying to look up a scope, and then you have to try and move to try and between the water drops and the glasses, then you start to black out your fucking scope. So yeah, it's just a pain in the ass. So yeah, and I have a fear of things in my eyes. You have a similar, do you? You don't like things in your eyes, do you?
No.
You don't mind that?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, I don't. No, I've never put contacts in, or I don't. Obviously, I don't use glasses, but no, there's a lot of things I don't like going in. But no, contacts are, my eyes is probably not one.
Oh, you're afraid of needles. That was it. I mean, if it's fucking needles.
Yes, don't like. No, not even needles. Syringes.
Well, syringes. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I spoke about before. You know that safe food one where it looks like a syringe going into like flesh, and then it zooms out. And it's actually a thermometer going into chicken. Oh man, I hate to add.
Jesus Christ, man!
I know.
I do send you actually every time I'm in the blood bank. I do send you the picture, But I hate looking. I was in during the week. 19 pints, man. 19 pints of Irish Kildare, fantastic blood of come out of these veins.
All in the one day or what?
No, look, well, they'd be more than welcome, man. I could do it losing a few pounds, but yes, but I can never look at the needle going in. I don't mind. I look at it, because there's a little jar beside you that's keeping the blood moving and all, and I don't mind looking at that, and I don't mind looking at coming out, but I just don't like the point of impact. Now I can quite easily stick a needle in somebody else.
yeah, no.
Myself, no.
No, I'm not into it, man. And it's weird because I used to be one of those cool kids, and I used to have like a load of piercings. I had me fucking lip pierced and my eyebrow and stuff. And I don't know if you've ever had your eyebrow pierced or if you're familiar
I
with.
did.
Yeah,
I did.
you know the way they pinch it and they push the big needle down through it, and then you're looking and there's a needle kind of half.
Needle hanging over your eyeball. Yeah.
That I didn't mind. Same with your kind of lip or whatever the fuck you call it. They pull it out and shove it up through it, and you've one like resting on your nose. That doesn't bother me, or tattoos, right? That doesn't bother me. But syringes, man, I get weak when I see them. Even you know the way you could be driving by like a, you know the way like some farmers are fuckers for having syringes in the Jeep, you know, for dosing cattle and stuff. Man, if it's in,
Yeah.
I am paranoid. I'm looking at it the whole time. I just I swear to God, it's weird. Yeah, weird.
Funny, I was actually telling Avril, we were actually talking about that piercings during the week. Just literally, as you said that about eyebrow piercing, I had an eyebrow piercing. I don't know why it came up, somebody on the TV or something.
Hmm.
But back in the day, man, when I was a young fella, and of course, there would be, um, it's not the best attire to be wearing when you kind of get fucking attacked by other groups of youths in your when you're back in the youth. And
Hmm.
there was a little boxing match. It was only about 17 or 18, I think, or whatever. And I came home cursing them because I thought I'd lost me the top off me eyebrow ring, you know.
Yes.
Um, and then sure I came home and I looked and a little bit of a bulge in the eyeball and the eyebrow, and it was actually after going inside where I'd obviously got a little bit of a dig, and pushed it right in. So I had to pop it back out. It was never the same since, so I had to take it out at that stage.
Oh my God.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
but don't go fighting with eyebrow rings. That's
no,
the
no, I can give you a better.
careful out there, kids.
I can give you a better one. The Big Mac used to, when he was the same as me, he had the eyebrow done and the lip and all that sort of jazz done. But he went a step further. And do you ever see the piercing you get in your neck? It's like a bar that goes through like 2 inches of
Yes.
your neck with a ball either side of it. And this is years ago, 10, 15 years ago at least. And we were in a nightclub one night, and I think it was a cousin of his or something, was home from Australia or something, yeah, but ran up in the nightclub to give him a hug, threw her arms around his neck, caught the bracelet in the bar and ripped it clean out of his neck, man.
Yeah.
Clean out of his neck. He's a big scar across his neck now for it, yeah. So I hope he doesn't mind me telling that story, but anyway, bit late now.
You see, you had eyebrow lip earring. What
Yeah,
else?
yeah, no, that was about it, man. That was about it.
Didn't go. You weren't one of them lads that got the nips done
No,
around.
no,
Oh, jeez, no,
no, definitely not,
no,
man.
no. Eh.
No, no,
Fuck
no,
off. No,
not. But
that's
that,
enough.
that's enough of the Pearson stories. But
So
and
yeah,
Run Club Ran.
the gun club. Yeah, no, just tidying up a bit of paperwork. Actually, the we got a new consignment of poles last week, so there's another 80 poles in with our existing 150, 160 at this stage. Um, and then we've a couple more in our kind of like um our breeding boxes, you know, so they're chicks. So we'll have a nice number. We'll have two. I think we're going to have 260, 270 this year, and we're thinking about getting another 50 maybe adult birds coming up to the Christmas.
That's unreal. Jeez, man, you have some stocks now. That's deadly.
Yeah. So we've a few mallard release as well, a small few. We rear a few of them every year ourselves with the banties, and then they're released out around as well. So yeah, no, it's good, all going well. Like it couldn't be the pen is working out fantastic. We divided it up into two, so we have a little a third, and that's where they all are at the minute. So they fleeced that, and we've kale planted in the other two pens, and that's nearly a foot and a half high now. So we're just waiting for maybe another little bit of growth on that, and then we're going to release them in so they'll be able to forage and peel that, and that'll give them a good injection of nice nutrients and so on.
Savage. Cheers, all go. That's deadly, man.
Yeah,
Stuff.
you had yourself and the Big Easy were out doing a bit a spot of fishing and a
Yeah.
spot of lamping, but I don't think he's got near the lamping. They just
Oh, we didn't do that, man. No, we went out fishing just kind of last week. Was on holidays, and of course, I had a disaster with the old holiday. That didn't go to plan. Uh, so
true Irish style, man.
true fucking Irish. I remember years ago, my dad telling the stories about when he used to go on holidays, and I remember one time he made 4 attempts to go on holidays down the country. The car broke down 4 times. But yeah, similar story to myself. Car packed, kids in, herself, dog, everything in the car. Got as far as where did I say? Foxford. And next thing, bang! Should I have a puff of smoke? Blew 2 injectors. So yeah, had to get her on a tow truck and get her home, and spent the first 2 days of my holidays fixing the car. So that was great crack. So yeah,
Great.
spent the rest of the week just trying to entertain the kids by bringing them off every day, and they were mad to go fishing. So I brought Cooper and Hannah out fishing, and Hannah got her first fish, and the big easy joined us as well. So it was great, man. It was absolutely brilliant. Just up to the local canal. As I said before, the canals are grand because it's easy for the kids. You're not hiking through fields, and do you know what I mean? It's nice and
Yeah,
calm.
all your gear is nice and beside you. And if it does rain, which it does regular here,
Yeah,
you're only a scooch back into the van and you can sit it out then for half an hour. Whereas
yeah,
if you're after hiking through a couple of fields with kids and stuff, you have a decision to make at that stage. You pack it in or whatever. So, and I seen Hannah's fish, fantastic, brilliant. So
yeah.
that's that isn't that what it's all about, you know?
That's what it's all about. Absolutely, man. 100%. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, gun club related. Wednesday night we were up. We all met up. I think was it Wednesday or Thursday night? I can't remember. But we all met up anyway, and we put up another bit of a pen, just kind of segregating kind of the farmer's land from the pen, just to keep cattle away. Got our electric fence up. Got a couple of latches on the doors and locks and stuff like that. Got our feeders in. Then we went back up Saturday and we finished off another bit of the fencing. And then we actually got to a shout out to a local man here. And he gave us a load of old ESB posts, and so we're able to use. So we concreted in two of them, and we're going to make up a gate now that it's easy. We've a little walkway down to the pen. Now it's only 20 foot long off the kind of the edge of the roadway, so just easy, lovely, just straight in into the pen, check the birds, into the car, home.
Yeah,
Absolutely
deadly,
spot on.
deadly.
So then we've our birds are landing this Saturday morning. 150 birds coming this Saturday morning from.
Brilliant.
So yeah, so that's
Yeah, and that look that makes all the difference, doesn't it? Because a lot of clubs, and we nearly made the same mistake this year when we were citing the super pen as we call it. We were going to put in an area club, and then one lad's made a huge, like really valid point. He said, like, we already have now we have three different pens in three different areas, and he said like the logistics and the last one where we were going, it was a fantastic area, like it would have been brilliant just the access down to it. And like it's great in the summer, it's kind of relatively dry, but then we forget like, a third that would be underwater going up to it
Mhm.
come November. So and then that just makes it all kinds of hardship, dragging feed and water and all kinds of stuff down there. So yeah, no, we're like you said, it's nice. It keeps everyone nobody really minds then tipping down to the pen, and even when you're passing, then you can just pull up and fly in,
Yeah.
because it's not too much off the beaten track. Then
No, no, exactly. Yeah, that's how we said that before in the podcast. Number one rule of thumb when you're thinking about building your pen is access is the big thing. I'm not telling you, obviously don't put it on the edge of a busy main road, but
yeah,
you have to go in there in all kinds of weather. So easy access
it's key.
is key, man. Without a shadow.
And come here, yeah, 150 cocks, Brenny, and where are you getting them off the guy up in Donegal? Is that right?
Yeah, I have to think of his name. I can't actually think of his name, but yeah, he's bringing them down and all, so it's grand. He was supposed to. We were actually supposed to get them last Saturday, but in hindsight, it probably worked out. But he just didn't have the room to bring them down. So in hindsight, it gave us a bit of a chance to go and get a couple of other bits and pieces. We got the drinkers as well. Yeah, they were dear enough, man. I can't remember what they were. They about 40 euros each or something.
They are, man. Yeah, they're yeah, they're
Yeah.
very dear.
Yeah, they were expensive. We made up some kind of spring feeders as well, just to try and get them used to. I have some of them in the pen just so they can try and get used to going to them as a food source when they're obviously, more mature and they're out. And then we've just, the small feeders. Now I ended up getting two of the feeders, but that you get the small ground feeders, but
Yeah,
I do them, but they didn't have, the hats on them, the big hats that keeps the water.
yeah.
So we had to try and because I couldn't get them anywhere local. Obviously, there's the McGowan's down in Kerry, but it was just I need them in a hurry, so we had to kind of improvise there and make up little shelters for it. But yeah, no, she's all
All
good.
good.
She's all
She's
good.
all good. All
Yeah,
good.
she's all good. Yeah.
And come here. Any plans? What's the plan for deer season? Upcoming deer season. What are you working? Are you
I,
taking a couple of days off? Are you
I think is the first is a Thursday or a Friday, is it?
Thursday or Friday? I think it's Thursday, Benny.
Oh,
Thursday. I think.
I'll probably take the Thursday anyway, man. I'll be working for myself the Friday. So yeah, I'll probably take the Thursday. Where I'm gonna go, I honestly genuinely don't know. I have been thinking about it over my head of what I'm gonna go for. Um we've obviously got a nice big area of land now. We need to head down in County Laois.
That's
Um
right.
so yeah, maybe might tip down there, man. Have to suss it out. I don't know. The first is kind of I think the first is weird because you probably shouldn't go on to virgin ground in the first because you need a bit of time to suss it all out. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, I honestly don't know. I don't know. I'd say you're going to head up probably not 100 mile away from yourself, are you?
I don't know, Brenny. That's a good question. I don't know yet what the plan is. I was just talking to Rob. Actually, he's off for the week. He's flying out on the Friday, so um, he probably he wants to go after a deer on the Thursday before I think he's to go over for a wedding, kicking and screaming over to the UK. So um,
Mhm.
he wants to go out on the Thursday. So probably go out somewhere on the Thursday. I don't know. My ground is, as you know, like again, um, I like kind of leaving that for probably later on in the year where you're not as kind of. I'd like to get another bit. My meat is getting, believe it or not, is getting low.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
so I'd like to get maybe one in the bag and or even, do you know what would be nice, just even to go like we said, just go for a look maybe, because I think I don't, I've never, obviously we've never shot this time of the year, so I don't know, you know the dynamics of it. Will the stags be in the big kind of lazy mode still, or will they be out? I don't know.
I don't.
Need to get out probably and get the boots on the ground a little bit, do a little bit of recon. Um, and probably do have a little peek at what's moving and where they're moving. Like what you said, there's we've a couple of swathes of ground,
Yeah.
there's to try and I know there's a farmer down in Leitrim screaming for a couple to be shot as well. So yeah, it's. I've no set plans as of yet. Oh, look, we'll formulate them closer to the time, I think.
Yeah, I'd be kind of thinking first now, you want to be trying to keep as close to home as you can because, like, there's nothing to say the 1st of December it won't be 25 degrees out. Do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
you get a deer on the ground, you need to get him back and get him cooled down fairly quick. I think the last thing you want to be doing is hiking 2 hours from Leitrim.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, you want to be factoring that into the equation. Yeah, of course. Look, weather will come into it as well. If it's fucking, I can attest this, man. If it's pissing rain, I ain't going out. That is as simple as that. Because although I should have my contacts this year. That was actually thinking, um, thinking out loud. Yeah, I actually will be able to go out in this rain.
Yeah,
It's fucking
yeah.
deadly,
My God.
deadly.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but it is going to be interesting to see now because even like, in all fairness, a lot of time the 1st September it's still kind of mild and you're not for the vast majority, I think, of deer in places, they're not in the rut yet. So yeah, so bringing another month forward, it'll be interesting to see. It'll certainly be interesting, anyway.
Yeah, they're starting to like, in around September. Obviously, they're starting to round up the girls. You can see them starting to light around the areas where they're going to be, and
Yeah.
so on and so forth. Whereas I don't know what way is the got like there's a lot more experienced lads than ourselves will probably tell us, but or attest how they'll be out scoping out a little bit earlier.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's like that. I think it'll be a good learning curve this year anyway. We get to see what's what.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah. No, it should be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how many people are going because I know a lot of people said no, they wouldn't. They kind of make a thing that they wouldn't go out and hunt that time of the year. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what exactly happened.
And I think, look, I think we have to be careful as well, right? Because I've seen some of this kind of back and forward online, and it's, look, we've said it before, as a community, we need to kind of probably stick together rather than if lads go out and shoot in August and they shoot a stag or they shoot um, uh, a young pricket or whatever. um, like if that is the case, right? They don't need people jumping on their fucking backs. They're not doing anything illegal. This is completely legal. So, um, like there's lads shooting right now, under sections. So it's no different. I think, um, lads that get caught. Oh, leave that animal to um to further. And look, nobody would. I'd love to see better quality heads in Ireland, especially in the red
Mhm.
um deer population, but. We're never going to get it, like, because our legislation and our laws don't encourage that type of
No.
uh, deers now are being herded into a corner as being kind of vermin.
No.
And if you ask the man on the street, he won't be able to tell you that there's three, possibly four different species of deer in Ireland. There's deer in Ireland. That's what he'll be able to tell you. And they're all fucking, they're everywhere. They're vermin. Do you know?
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
So we have to be kind of careful. And look, if a lad wants to go out and fill his freezer with a stag in August, I'll have no objection to that whatsoever.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And here to that. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. 100%. No fighting. You have to fight. All be on the one page, as the fella says. But you're going to get on here. There's no point saying different. You'll see on Facebook and stuff, lads will be putting up pictures, and you'll always get the lads going. Why would you do that this time, and would you not get to all this rah rah? But anyway, you'll
I'll
never.
get used to it because there'll be a few. If there's one shot in the first, there'll be a picture going up, no doubt.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure, without a doubt.
But
Without a shadow of a doubt.
this man coming up, Brenny,
Yeah.
fantastic dude. Yeah,
Give,
can't wait for this.
give us a bit of an introduction into this guy. Well, we've both been following this guy, but give us a bit of an introduction. What can we expect from him?
Yeah, I suppose for anyone, I think I said it during the week. For anyone who's kind of sleeping under a rock and doesn't know, this guy is he's we're honored to have him on the podcast first and foremost, and thanks a million to him for coming on. But yeah, like he's just a really cool dude, man. He's probably similar kind of to ourselves. He gave up. He kind of not from Alaska originally, but like I won't go too much into. But yeah, he's kind of given up the life in the big smoke to literally to live and hunt in one of the bleakest landscapes in the that there is. And he's big game, Kodiak brown bear, moose, sika deer, stuff like that. Wolves. He traps wolves. He's just fucking all around cool dude. He has probably like myself. He has a clatter of children, and that's an Irish term for any of our American friends. But he's a lot of kids. I think we'll ask him if he's either 6 or 7 kids. Um, and yeah, and he's a pilot, so he flies his own little. Is it a Cub plane?
Oh yeah,
Cub.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. It is. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Does all his own work on the plane, and has had some kind of interesting, scary moments with the plane flying in and out. So yeah, no, it's really cool to have him on. And I look at we're as I said before, we're honored to have him on. This is kind of going to bring another, because we don't get to obviously experience not yet anyway. A lot of the hunting over in that side of the water.
Mhm.
It'll be fantastic to get a little bit of an insight into the way the guys do it over there.
Absolutely, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, man. Well, without further ado, we're going to bring you Adam Grenda all the way from Alaska in the United States.
Yep.
Sounds like a plan. Here we go.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Adam Grenda, welcome to the Irish Hunting Podcast.
Thank you guys for having me. Do I say guys or do I say lads? What do I call you?
You
can call us whatever the fuck you want.
Whatever the fuck you want.
Okay.
We've been called fucking way worse. So whatever you want, man.
Wanker. Is that something people say over there?
Yeah,
that's Brenny. That's Brenny.
That'd be more so Anthony. Now he'd be out that pretty regularly, I'd say, man. Yeah.
I just want to be sure that I'm talking shit correctly in Ireland.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. We had a bit of a buzz there. I was saying, when I was chatting on Instagram, I said, come on to the podcast and we'll have a bit of crack. Obviously, that means a whole different fucking ball game over your neck of the woods than it does over here. So
yeah. It's like, are we talking like crack cocaine here, or what are we going to give a crack about here? Like, I'm not sure what they do in Ireland, but yeah, it was kind of crazy.
No, we just can't afford crack, unfortunately. It's just too expensive.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. I've never done any podcasts internationally. I've done a lot in the States, but nothing internationally. So I'm excited.
That's wicked.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
We've listened to quite a few of yours over your neck of the woods. We're big fans over here, Adam. So congratulations, man. You're going from strength to strength over there, and you're pretty well known over this neck of the woods as well.
Well, that's crazy. Kind of like we were talking about before, I don't care if you had 100 million in the bank or $10, or I don't care if you have 100 million followers or 2. I could give a shit about followers. It's all about like just being a good person and being a decent human. So that's cool. I really don't care about any of the fame. I just want to be a good person, a good dad, and kill a lot of big shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wicked. I love that, man. That's
a punchline and a half, man.
Yeah, that's something you want on your fucking headstone, man. That's wicked. That exact quote.
Yeah, that or my headstone. I thought would be really cool one is like, he tried hard. Those 3 words. Just kidding.
You get a participation anyway.
Yeah. We're I suppose where do we start? Fucking hell, man! You've For anyone who doesn't or hasn't seen some of your YouTube over this neck of the woods, Stuck in a Rut, you'll get like we'll start, I suppose, at one of the ones that probably grabs our attention over here because we don't have any of them. But Kodiak brown bear, some beautiful looking animals over that. How did you start? Firstly, how did you get into this gig? And what was what was your what was your thought process to go to? I know you left the city to come up to Alaska into the wilderness. What was the motivation, I suppose, behind that?
I don't want to kill big shit and live
Kill
in the
big
middle of
shit.
nowhere. Yeah, I'm allergic to assholes, and where I live, there's not a lot of people, so you're statistically lower odds of finding assholes. I grew up in North Idaho, started, as a fishing guide and camp bitch and everything, and just got immersed in Alaska. And there's airplanes in Alaska, just like cars everywhere else, like they're needed because there's no roads up here, but there's still people that want to get out and explore the wilderness and outside and hunt, fish, and all that stuff. And so at that point, I became pretty immersed into aviation, and I was pretty good at it, like had a hand-eye coordination for it, and thought I could make a job out of it. So I became a commercial pilot, and that led me to Alaska. And my wife and I sold everything in Idaho, moved up here, and we live in a remote area of Alaska, the southwest part, a place called King Salmon. So there's no roads into here. We're off the road system, so everything's got to be flown in by a jet, really expensive, or barged up, which is also really expensive. So logistically, it's a pain in the ass, but there's a lot of animals in Alaska to kill. We have our own airplane, so I can kind of be my own transportation, and I'm an entrepreneur, so I'm my own boss, and so I have a lot of time off. And I got a super hot wife that lets me hunt as much as I want. So I'm pretty lucky, dude.
You are
Really lucky.
very
You're living the dream, man.
living the fucking dream. I'm going to just have to dive straight in here, right? Because there's a bit of envy going on here, right? First of all, you have a killer beard for people who can't see it, right? Which I'm very envious of. But secondary to that, man, my whole lifelong dream, and Anthony will attest to this, and anyone who knows me, I never in my life wanted to be anything else other than a commercial pilot. I've
Really?
Yeah, I absolutely. Since the time I was a kid, my parents used to bring us up to the airport. My dad would be a bit of an aviation nerd as well. I always said if I won money, I would quit my job and get my pilot's license. I just love everything about it.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Untethered and Wanderwise, where adventure has no age limit. We're your co-host, Heidi Brandist and Nikki Mahandro, and we're here to inspire and celebrate women over 45 who are embracing their independence and want to explore the world on their own terms.
Yeah, I feel like there's two schools of thought on pilots. There's a lot of pilots who just want to become a pilot, do it as a job, and go to the airlines. And those people kind of rub me the wrong way. I don't. I've thought about there's a ton of money in the airlines, flying for UPS or FedEx. It would just be a job, and it would really discredit the love I have for aviation. I still get a smile on my face when my wheels break the ground, or we're coming out with the last load of moose, and you pull the flaps and yard the stick back, and you're just like, woo, we're going home. It's just like I am fully immersed and in love with aviation. And when you can mix that with hunting, your two biggest loves, or I guess pastimes, I'm not talking about like kids and wife and stuff, but when you take something you're really good at, like flying, that you really enjoy doing, and something you're obsessed over, hunting, and you take those together, it's just one of the most surreal feelings you can do. And it's really cool to do it by yourself because you're only betting on yourself. I don't have a wingman. I don't got Goose sitting behind me. It's just me, my cub, my tools, and it's a lot of risk, but like that's where you can really, really kick some ass, is those risky zones, and I pretty much live in that risk zone, I feel like.
I think the best pilots in the world are the ones that are like flying some of those Piper Cubs and stuff like that with, very, very little runway. And a lot of times you're landing on the surface that you've never landed on before. And that's why you got those big balloon tires and stuff on it. It's a whole other thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, runways are cool and stuff like that, but my goal when I'm hunting is to, at least one or two times a year land the airplane and hunt an animal where I'm almost positive an airplane's never landed. They may have landed within a mile or something like that, but this particular piece of tundra or this little ridge or this gravel bar, I'm pretty sure no airplane's ever been in here. And to me, that's really living. A lot of guys won't do that because a lot of guys fly like a bitch and they don't push the limits. And they want to have a wingman and they want to do stuff and they're not experienced enough. And like, I'm not trying to say that like degrading or whatever, but a lot of people don't really push themselves in the aviator category. I do. I have a lot of adrenaline going on. I really test the airplane's limits and I test my skill set confidently enough where I'm like riding that line, but I'm not going to wreck, but that's where I want to be.
I heard on one of your podcasts, Adam, well, I heard you kind of test the ground in some cases where ice, and there's talk of throwing stuff out of airplanes and stuff. Is that a? I think on one of your podcasts, I don't know whether it was your interviewee or that suggested is a rock that comes out of the plane to test if the ice will hold up, or you bounce the wheels slightly off it and see what.
Yeah, some guys say they bounce the wheels. I don't really feel like that test enough. So I'll take a big rock, like 15, 20 pounds, and I'll throw it out of the airplane at 1,000 feet. And if that bounces off the ice, like it's going to hold a truck. So it'll definitely hold a Super Cub. But yeah, ice is just a whole different realm. When you go in the winter and you go to fly on skis, there's a lot of changing conditions with lighting. You can't see if there's snow on the ground and the light's kind of cloudy, you don't have the sun out, you can't really tell depth perception on the snow. They call it flat light. That's really difficult. And yeah, the ice, that's like my worst nightmare is landing on skis and punching through the ice and drowning, or, worse yet, coming out of the airplane and then hypothermia, then you sets in and then you die. So I'm always really cognizant and really careful about the ice to make sure it's solid. Because you can have a solid lake and then have an open lead somewhere in the middle. Just weird stuff like that you wouldn't think happens. And you just got to be really aware of that stuff in the winter.
That's wicked.
And you've had a pretty close call on one of them, I think, Adam. A fuel line or something like that came dislodged or was corroded, and that's about as close as anyone want to come to disaster, would it?
On the motor?
Yeah, I heard on one of your podcasts, I think was you were flying. I think it could have been from a previous job, maybe one of your fuel lines, I think, or something. It was spraying fuel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Any fuel leak, airplane's just like a automobile, a car, truck. There's a firewall that separates basically where you sit in this piece of equipment and the engine. And any leak that's forward of the firewall in that engine compartment is really not good. And I had a pretty significant one. I was flying for the feds, and I was on a winter moose survey, and I smelled fuel. And I'd smelled it for like 30 seconds, and I asked the biologist, I'm like, do you smell fuel? And before I could even get the word fuel out of my mouth, she's like, yeah, I do, like bad. So we went and landed, and had a pretty significant fuel leak in the airplane. But we were able to get on the ground, and it didn't catch on fire. But I had like 65 gallons of fuel, so catching that on fire would be a flying bomb. That would not have been good. So I'm glad it didn't catch on fire.
Fucking hell, man.
Yeah, man, that is unbelievable.
That was pretty mild, to be honest.
Right. Talk us through some of the hairier ones.
Oh, I mean, I crashed a Super Cub one time when I was young and stupid, 21, didn't know anything, and like a dumbass, I was watching YouTube. I tell everyone, I get asked a lot of flying questions and hunting questions, just on Instagram, and I try to answer most people. And I just tell people to stay off YouTube because you get such a false sense of reality. If you're watching a guy like me or one of the really good guys, 20, 30,000 hours, they're doing something with an airplane that's not humanly possible for you. I don't care how good you are on your best day. Like, you just don't have the muscle memory and the skill set to do that. And I just got done doing that. So I crashed the Super Cub there. I had a beaver get away from me one time in a lake. I went swimming after it, almost drowned because I got hypothermic. Couple winters ago, I had a pretty large crack inside the case of a motor, and the motor probably should have blown up, but it didn't. And I was able to fly that home. Yeah, I mean, cracked cylinders, just like the whole thing. I ran out of gas one time in the airplane like a fucking dumbass. I mean, Just
Fuck.
I've screwed up a lot, guys. Bent
Yeah.
floats. I mean, all kinds of stuff.
You know the famous saying, the guy that never fucked up never did anything. So that's how you.
That's how you get experience, guys. You got to screw it up a few times, and then
Absolutely.
there's some days when you get back from a trip and you pull into the hangar and you're just like, wow, we didn't break anything today. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, absolutely, man, absolutely. Let's talk about a little bit of hunting. So, yeah, we've seen some of your Instagram posts and the Kodiak bears, man, and some of the wolves and moose and all that sort of jazz. What's like that is completely alien to us. Like we obviously we hunt deer and we've red deer here and they're a big animal, but like you know it'd be very unusual for them to kill you. Whereas obviously the Kodiak bear and stuff, there's a kind of a real possibility, I suppose, that happens. So talk us through what's a standard hunt, if there is such a thing for yourself when you're going after a Kodiak bear. Like, have you far to go from where you're living to hunt them? Is it all obviously fly out? What's
It's funny you say that because I'm probably staying up till 3 a.m. to shoot one in my backyard tonight because 2 nights there's been a bear kind of roaming around the neighborhood and it broke into my greenhouse, which there was nothing smelly in my greenhouse, maybe some old chicken shit for like manure or something.
Yeah.
But it broke a window out. It broke another window out, but it pushed the window frame, like the 2x6 window frame, out of the building. Just a stick frame building, 2x4s and 2x6s. One of those light duty storm doors. It broke one of those. I just spent a couple $100 and put that in like a month ago. And then last night it got into my chicken coop and ate all the chicken food. Didn't kill all the chickens. So that's what we call a problem bear. Usually those aren't very big. It's just like a little 6-7 footer, but it's going to get suicided tonight because that kind of stuff, it's causing me more problems. And I don't want to kill a bear that I have to skin and I have to take to the troopers and everything like that. It's totally legal. In Alaska, they call it DLP, for Defense of Life and Property. And my property keeps getting fucked up by this bear, and bears don't know. They just want food, and they're not good at finding fish this time of year or whatever. And so they're going to take the easy way out. And so that one's probably going to get a bullet. That's not a bear hunt. The peninsula bear hunts we go on, like Alaska Peninsula and the Kodiak bears, have like the biggest genetics in the world, and they're just colossal. At some point after a 9-foot bear, it doesn't even look like a bear; it just looks like a prehistoric mammoth creature. And where I live, it's a trophy bear area. Even if you live in Alaska, which kind of rubs me the wrong way, you can only shoot one every 4 years. So I shot one in 2021. I can't shoot one till 2025. So you have to be pretty selective. You don't just want to shoot the first one. And then some years we have a spring hunt on even years. And then some years on the fall, we have fall hunts. So that's kind of how it works.
And you hunt with bow primarily when you're out bear hunting? Or
no, guys, no. I appreciate the credit. I'm a shitty bow hunter. I can shoot the bow. I got this new super duper Hoyt RX8. The thing hits the target at 100 yards. I'm not sure how, but it's really good. I give a lot of the credit to the bow. But my problem, and this is not an excuse, but like Alaska, there's no weapon restricted hunt. So you can hunt with a gun, pistol, muzzleloader, or a bow. Well, if I can take a Gunworks rifle and shoot a bear at 500, why would I want to limit myself to shooting a bear at 60 with a bow? So it's really hard to only bow hunt. But that being said, my next one, I'm going to shoot with a bow. I think we'll see.
And when you're talking about, you mentioned a name there that's a bit familiar to myself, Gunworks. Is that kind of your weapon of choice? Is that a popular brand over there, or is that what you solely use?
If you're a hunter and you haven't heard of Gunworks, you haven't been around long enough, because they've been making long range rifles since like the beginning, like a long time ago. I don't even, maybe it's 20 years. I'm not sure. I'll need to ask Aaron or something, but it's a long time. Aaron Davidson, owner, is a freaking great dude. He's a wizard when it comes to guns and math and everything. Sometimes I have to tell him to like dumb it down just because I'm a dumb pilot, The guy knows physics. He knows engineering. He builds really, really amazing guns. And we're fully sponsored by them. We get guns and ammo and we shoot their stuff. And it's a really good relationship that we've built with those guys.
I do a bit of brand ambassadors for a company called Highland Outdoors, They're owned by the Fuller brothers, who you may have heard of out in the States. There, they own a lot of brands stuff, but one of the brands that they have the I suppose the trading of is Gunworks. So I've actually gotten my hands now. Gunworks wouldn't be a huge name over here. But I've had them. I've not owned them, but I've seen them in the flesh, and what a piece of kit! For those that aren't familiar with it, Gunworks are kind of they build the rifle around you. I suppose it's not like a mass-produced firearm. You know, they kind of build them, and I think, am I right in saying every one of them is tested to 1,000 yards?
I don't know if they do that. Their slogan's 1,000 yards out of the box. That's not relative to me. I've never tested that theory because as soon as I get the gun, I throw a suppressor on it because, man, I'm never going to shoot a gun. I don't even want to shoot one at the range, let alone hunt with one that doesn't have a suppressor. So I've never tested that theory or anything like that. But that's their slogan. They do shoot them at 100 before to make sure they're good, and they do a 7-shot group, and they want really tight tolerance. I mean, close to a half inch you can get with 7 shots. So they're proving that before that gun leaves the shop, that the gun can do the job.
Mm-hmm.
So when some dumbass calls and say I can only shoot this in a 2.5-inch group at 100, they say we've validated it. Maybe try some other things. But the cool thing about Gunworks is we did the factory tour. They make their own scope now with Revic optics. I just got one of those on the new 338. They make their own barrels. They make their own actions. They make their own stocks. I think the only thing they're missing is the trigger. They make their own bipod. They make their own suppressor. So everything's in-house there versus going to a typical gun builder. They go buy all these different parts. They buy a brake from this guy, a barrel from this guy, a defiance action, and they put it all together. Gunworks is making everything in-house, and so the supply is there. Turnaround times are pretty quick, and it's expensive gun. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, it's not cheap, but you're buying like a once-in-a-lifetime investment, and the customer service that follows that has been really kick-ass with those guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come here, Adam. Are you shooting off like tripod or sticks, or what way are you shooting? What way are you setting up over there? Say you're in on a, or does it depend on the animal or the type of stock you're on?
I don't do too much of a tripod. I got that stuff set up more for my kids because they can't really shoulder a gun, even an 8-9 pound gun. I shoot a lot off a bipod. I used to shoot an Atlas, and now I have that one from Gunworks called Revic, which is lighter than the Atlas, a lot more function to it. And most everything's off a bipod. If I can't get a good solid shot with a bipod, I'll move to a place where I can, even if it's further away, because I'd rather take a really well supported shot at a longer distance but feel good about it than take something where I don't have a very steady platform. And tripods, I suck ass at shooting off tripod. I know, like, I'm just not good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned there is a 338 Win Mag. Is that if you were going after a bear? Is that your caliber of choice?
I shoot a 338 Ultra Mag, which is really good, but I've seen bears take 6 hits from a 338 Ultra Mag and keep going. So the next one I do, I might have a 375 from Gunworks. I might try one of those. They have like a dangerous game line called their Skull series, which is like African stuff and different things. I might try a 375 or a 416 because we're not doing really long shots at the brown bear. You're trying to get within 100 or 200 yards because they usually take multiple shots. If you're starting at 400 or 500, it's just difficult to make a follow-up shot when the bear's running. And then I also have a 458 lot, which is like a gun for Cape Buffalo, but that's like for close range stuff. If you're going in for a wounded bear, that's a big bullet.
Man.
And come here, where are you placing that round then on a brown bear, Adam? Heart and lung, or you?
That's really a convoluted story. There's a lot of guys that say hit them in the shoulder, break them down so they can't go. I think that depends a lot on the bullet construction. If you're using a Barnes or something, you could take a bear high shoulder, but you're taking 1,000-pound, 10-foot brown bear. I mean, that's a bunch of bone and a lot of bone to go through to get both shoulders broken and all the structure between those two shoulders. I just don't really see that as feasible. I like the Barnes 250 LRX coming out at 338. I think it's an all copper bullet, which I don't like because it kind of makes me feel like a freaking hippie, using copper bullets because they're safer. But that thing kicks ass because I saw my brother-in-law shoot a bear right behind the shoulder. It took 3 steps and died, and it was 20. It was right under 20. It was right around 27 on the skull which for reference, Boone and Croc is 28. So it's a big bear. And it was 9 foot, 10 inches squared, an honest square. So it was a big bear. And my personal preference is to shoot them through the lungs because they're going to die. And then the adrenaline's going to kick in and they're going to start going. And after that, try and hit them in the shoulder, but it's just such a whirling brown mass of shit. You're just trying to send bullets downrange and hit the bear at that point.
Okay.
It's crazy.
And then,
And it's
sorry, go ahead, Anthony. Yeah.
no, sorry, Bernie. Yeah, I was just saying, do you ever have to track them? Like the type of ground you're shooting on, we wouldn't be kind of over here. We've kind of like dense forestry in parts and so on and so forth. So sometimes when we're not hunting brown bear, but obviously these animals are running. How far or what's the longest you've ever had to track, and have you had issues in recovering at times over there, Adam, or is it?
Just as far as bears or all animals?
Well, bears in general, like what kind of range would they go? For argument's sake, you're after dropping one in the lungs and you're after following up. Generally, what's the kind of the longest you've had to track one?
Never lost a bear and never had to track one very far. The only one that was ever wounded that we went in, my buddy and I, Justin, were hunting moose, made a shot on a bear, bad wind call, the bullet drifted into the bear's ass, but it messed the bear up pretty good because the bear only went over the hill like 20 yards. We saw a little blood, but it's hard to blood track up here just with the foliage, and it's really brushy. And we followed down into it, and he had me kind of stay up high and look, and I wasn't doing anything. He's just like, I guess I was like, okay, I'll stay back here when you get eaten, and if I hear you screaming, I'll come shoot it. And he went down there with a 10 millimeter pistol and a 338, and I think he got to within 6 yards, saw the bear, shot it. He was above it. It came up at him, and he racked a bolt, and he shot it again in the chest. And then he was out of rounds, and he grabbed his 10 mil, and the bear kind of died like 2 yards from his feet. So that was kind of wild. That was a big bear too. And the really cool thing about it is, like, Justin's killed a lot of bears. He loves killing bears. Like, trust me, he never shuts up about it. And he was down there, and I gave him another round when I went down there, and I was filming him for Stuck in the Rut. And he was shaking so bad when he tried to load the next round, his hand was shaking. He couldn't even get the round into the chamber. It was like rattle canned on the metal. It was just bouncing around, and he had this giant vein coming up his neck, out of his forehead. His pulse was beating. It was pretty cool to see, but shit got real there for a minute.
Jesus Christ, man! And just on that, have you had you hear stories on other podcasts and different people on having bears charge? Have you experienced that?
No, maybe I just look too much like a freaking bear. I'm a hairy bastard or something. I don't know, but all the animals I see, they usually go the other way when they see me. My wife, animals like to approach her, and they try and eat her or breed her or whatever they're trying to do out there. So she has all the animals and predators come her way. But for me, I don't really have any issues. I've grown up, as a fishing guide for 10 years around a lot of brown bears that are really close interacting with humans. And so the ones that are problem bears usually are the younger ones that are kind of curious and trying to test the waters. They just left the house of mom, and now they're out seeing the real world. And those ones you kind of have to be cautious about when they're getting into camp and different things like that. But you also have to know the behavior of a bigger bear. If you're moose hunting and you run into a bear or something like that, and it's a bigger one, you have to be able to kind of read the clues the bear is giving you, so you don't get yourself into a bad spot. But I've never been charged.
Okay.
And come here, your wife Tana is a good shot herself. She's a fantastic hunter. Put a lot of so-called male hunters to shame, from what I've seen. So it must be pretty awesome you don't have to come home every evening and explain where you are. She knows the deal. She knows the gig, and understands it, and vice versa. It must be pretty cool to have kind of two in the same household that's on the same wavelength.
Yeah, she's a better hunter than like most grown men that I know. She makes a lot of grown men look like a pussy. It can be good, but it's also difficult having two alpha males in the house, because that's pretty much what she is. She's like a dickless dude. Um, and my buddy kind of coined that phrase with his wife. But I mean, that's kind of what we're dealing with here, you know? And so that can be difficult. But when it comes to hunting season, it's like, yeah, I'll see you when I see you, which is really cool. It's not like, oh, the kids are sick. I need you at home. We all have buddies that have a wife like that. And it's really demoralizing because you're trying to stay focused on the hunt and it's not always going easy. So she makes that part really nice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Good, man. That is good. Come here, just to touch on a bit of moose hunting there as well. Like we hear stories a lot of the time. You know, we haven't experienced it yet ourselves, but you know, like say for lads going out on guided hunts, especially for moose and stuff, that the prices, you know, even in the past 10 years have just gone absolutely bonkers. What's your thought? Have you seen that yourself, or you know, for people that want to come in and do a hunt?
Yeah, so two things. Guys in the US, say a guy from lower 48, Colorado or Arizona, a lot of those guys want to hunt a moose, and you can do it yourself. You do not need a guide if you're from the United States. If you are from where you guys are at, Ireland, they consider you a non-resident alien. So if you want to hunt any animal in Alaska, you're going to need a guide. So if you're from Ireland, you want to go for moose, it's got to be guided. And I mean, you might be able to find one for 25,000 US, but most of the good hunts are going to be 30 to 35 or more. So that price has really shot up. But just the do-it-yourself price to get flown in, I mean, there's not a lot of air taxi transporter people that are just willing to fly you in. And just to drop you off per person is anywhere from like 8 to 15,000. Some guys are charging up to $20,000 per person. That's just to take you, drop you off into a good moose hunting area. So that price has really became inflated because everyone wants to hunt a moose and they don't want to hire a guide. And there's a huge demand for it. And there's not enough pilots up here with airplanes willing to take people. And it's basically Econ 101. If people are willing to pay it, they're going to charge it. So it costs a shitload of money.
Yeah, yeah, we've heard stories of that. All right, yeah, yeah, and similar
You-
to bear, is that a thing? You know, are you looking at prices similar to that now for a bear, or is it?
Yeah. And these outfitters aren't getting rich, guys. Like the logistics that go into this, the airplane, the insurance, you got to pay a guide $400 a day, probably. All the food and then permits to guide on these special lands. Like I don't know any outfitters that are rich. Like they make a living, but they bust their ass doing it. So it's a hard job. And I would say a bear, yeah, bear's probably around 30. You might be able to find a little cheaper, but yeah, roughly 30, 35. Pretty similar.
Fuck, big money.
you're an interesting nickname, and you can tell us a little bit more about this, or your you call it your pronoun. You're the Dick Bone King. Where the fuck did that come from, man?
I swear I'm not gay. I know it makes me sound really gay. I'm out here slinging dick, but I'm not. The best way I can explain it, we were killing a bunch of wolves in the winter, and like when it's time to kill wolves, it's time to kill wolves. When the weather sucks, it takes a long time to put up a wolf, like skin it, flesh it. You know, I get them fully ready for taxidermy. I just sold a couple more yesterday. It takes a long time. So I'll skin a wolf when I get back, when it's fresh, because you got to peel it. And then I'll throw it in a plastic bag and put it in the freezer. So a buddy was helping me. He was down here trapping me and stuff in the winter. And he skinned one, but he was kind of novice to it. So he did like a really careful job, left a bunch of meat and cartilage on the hide. Well, I pulled it out like a month later and I went to put it on the fleshing board, you know, big piece of piece of wood with a draw knife to flesh all the meat and the fat off. And I got down to the balls and I'm like, this is weird. And it freaking hit something solid. I didn't want to cut a hole in it. So I grabbed him like, oh, this thing's got a freaking pecker bone, dude. And I knew bears had them. I knew raccoons had them, but I never was into dick. Okay. No offense if you are, but that's not me. Right. And I like the ladies and especially the redhead that I'm married to. And so I just made a joke. My Instagram's a lot of satire comedy. Instagram's a freaking joke, dude. It's totally make believe. Whatever people put on there is usually false. And so I just try and keep it light. And I cut that dick bone out, and it wasn't a booner. It was probably 4 3/4 inches or something like that.
That's a big dick, man.
Yeah, a dick's a dick, right? And so I made a joke because a lot of people don't know that these animals have a dick bone, right? and I'm trying to make awareness about dicks worldwide. And I put it on Instagram as a joke, and one of my buddies bid it up in 24 hours to $105. And so then I made a really serious reel. It took me a couple tries. I had to keep a straight face, but I had like 16 wolves that were dead in my back shed. They're all frozen together, so I had to go start peeling them apart and like cutting them in half with chainsaws to bring the back half in to cut the dicks out. But I made a reel and I said, I'm not gay, but $100 to $100. You guys need a dick? I'll go whack off a dick right now for you. Um,
And
and
that's a whole
yeah,
pile fucking easier than tanning the hide.
Yeah.
absolutely. And then you sell the skull, you sell the dick, you sell the fur. You're utilizing all the parts of the animal, so it's better for everyone, you know. And
Absolutely,
guys
man.
buy them as a gag gift. Guys buy them just because they want to buy something from me. I don't know. And some people think it's super gay. I don't care what people think, obviously. And I sold over 1,000 I think I sold $1,500 in dicks the first winter. So if I can make $1,500 selling a gag gift to people, and you want to get your panties in a wad, well, go ahead. But I'm over here slinging dick for money.
Absolutely, man.
Oh, my
You're
God.
like an Alaskan pimp, man.
Yeah.
I I guess they yeah. So people call me Dick Bone. I'll be walking through somewhere in Anchorage. And they're like, hey, Dick Bone. And it's kind of been my handle. So, and I'm not mad. I'm not mad about it. One bit.
No, fuck
No,
no. That's cool.
it's
That's
not
cool,
bad
man.
when you think about it, a dick bone. It's not bad. It's not a bad. I've often been called a lot worse, man. Do you drink beer?
Absolutely.
Do you drink beer over there, Adam?
I used to drink pretty excessively. I could crush a 30 pack of Keystone. I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's a beer. It's kind of a cheaper beer, but I could kill a 30 pack of Keystones in my prime in college. You have to start in the morning. But I was pretty much a full blown alcoholic, I think, by like 23. I have what's called a air quotes addictive personality. So that's really good when it comes to like flying airplanes and killing shit because I'm just all in. When it comes to getting on the booze, like once you flip that switch, dude, you don't want any. You don't want me on the sauce. I wasn't a mean drunk. I was just, I think, an alcoholic piece of shit. And so I got off the booze like 10 years ago.
Okay. Good man. Good stuff.
Good stuff, man. You're probably similar to myself. You've a big crew behind you. You have a big family, Adam.
I do. And I don't want to pump the booze thing. Like I lost a lot of buddies and I realized they were just drinking buddies, not true friends. I don't care what people do. Like I've drank enough to kill an Indian reservation, like a ton of people. Like I have drank a lot of booze. I don't care what you do. I don't really want to be associated with it or be around when people are drinking and getting drunk. But like I don't care what people do. So that's no shame on you guys, no judgment from me. I've done a lot worse than just drinking beers. So do whatever you want. That's just my own personal choice. But I wanted to throw that caveat in there because some guys get their panties all twisted up that I think I'm better than them. And it's like, I just don't want to drink fucking beer. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, absolutely, man. Absolutely. No, I was referring there to you've a large family. I think you've is it 7 kids, Adam?
I don't even know, dude. You want me to go count? It changes by the freaking day. So yeah, it's currently 7. I think I'm about to adopt another one. And real short version, I'm sure you guys have heard that on other podcasts. Try as I might, I can't knock up the redhead. And we did a lot of in vitro IVF. I'm sure you guys have that over there, which is basically
Yeah.
make a baby in a petri dish and inject it into your wife. And we tried that, spent a bunch of like 40, 50 grand, all the fertility stuff, couldn't do it. And then right about that time, we were moving to Alaska, and she had heard that, hey, there's a lot of kids in Western Alaska that are in foster care for drugs, alcohol, sexual abuse, a lot of really, really bad stuff, like really bad things that I just won't even get into. And so we got into foster care. We adopted 5 kids through foster care. We've had a lot of kids come and go through foster care. Currently, one of the 7 kids in my house right now is a girl we used to foster, but she's just here for the summer hanging out. And then I have a baby boy in foster care right now. And then there's another kid that might be on the horizon to adopt. And I love my wife, and I don't really think she has any negative qualities, but if I had to find one thing that kind of pisses me off sometimes, is I'll be out flying and hunting, which I do a lot of, and I'll come back into service and she'll be like, don't be mad, but I got us another kid. And I'm like, Tana, I'm not mad, but this is not a dog. Like, these are humans, right? Like, if the kid's bad, you can't just take it to the pound. And so I'm like, could we maybe talk about the next one before you just go all in? And she's like, sorry, won't happen again. And then some days we'll get a phone call, and she's like, guess what? I got a phone call. I'm like, let's just pump the brakes, honey.
Look,
So girl's got a huge heart. She wants to save every kid out there, which is impossible. And it's hard to fathom that there's kids out there that need loving parents. But yeah. And I think it's weird because everyone like puts me on this pedestal, like, oh, you've done so many good things. I'm like, I look at foster care parents like when I was in high school, I'm like, those people are really special. They have a heart of gold. Like, I could never do that. And now I'm that guy, and I don't feel like I'm this super special person. I just feel like I was a guy that couldn't knock up his wife. I wanted to have kids. And so I'm like, okay, well, there's an avenue that I can help out, and I can also get kids. And so here we are.
that's what they say about. I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass or anything, but like fucking, I think that's probably what you don't probably realize. That is a pretty fucking cool, awesome thing to be doing, and it's a good insight into the heart of your wife and yourself. I know you don't want to take any fucking credit or any of that type of stuff for it, but it is a good insight into because what did I say? The person that should be the president of the United States is the person who doesn't want it, or the president of Ireland, that's they're the people who you'd want to have. So yeah, man, it's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome to be able to impact lives like that. And as you say, it's kind of twofold. You get the benefit of having some pretty awesome kids in around the home as well. So it's
Win-win.
it's win-win.
Yeah, it works out really good. And my kids are kick ass. They listen really well. They're respectful, and I'm just trying to teach kids to be kids. Like when we were growing up, like there was no video games and all this. I mean, a little bit, but like phones, my kids don't have phone. My oldest daughter is almost 16. She's got a phone, just like a flip phone, but that's it. Like my kids don't get to watch TV. Like I almost threw the TV off our balcony, our back deck the other day. I was freaking hot. And I put it on Instagram too because it was freaking real, and people want to see the sucky parts of life. My kids, I caught them inside in the middle of the day, nice sunny day, watching TV, and I'm like, bullshit. Last thing you're gonna do is watch TV inside my house and tell me you're bored. So I took the TV and I about launched it off the back deck. I was pretty pissed, but I kept my cool and I didn't. And I said, maybe I'll just hide the remote. That might be a better option instead of throwing a $600 TV off your deck. But yeah, I want my kids to be normal kids and go out and play like we did and just be kids,
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're probably, I suppose, in a certain ways, and I'm not, I shouldn't, maybe lucky's not the word to use, but when you live out somewhere where it's as as vast as Alaska and places like that, you kind of can, like there's a lot of people living here, in like we've housing states here with 400 houses cramped into a 20-acre field, and they don't. You could tell them, right, get outside and play. Well, they're just going to stand on the edge of the road and stuff. So I suppose it's great to have access to the wilderness and the outdoors of Alaska, like what you have. Yeah, it is sad to see it. We see kids over here stuck into tablets and iPhones and fucking Game Boys and shit, and then they come and say, I'm fucking bored. And you go, well, fucking hell, there's a shit ton of weeds out in the yard there. Go and fucking pull them and see how you get on, But
the last thing you want to tell me is I'm bored. Because same with our dads. If you told them are bored, you're getting your ass beat, and then you're gonna go move a pile of rocks just because.
Yeah.
You're basically becoming a prisoner of war in your own house because you said 2 words, I'm bored. That's the dumbest thing you can ever say as a kid.
Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. Just when it comes to deer, what kind of deer would you be hunting? Sitka deer over there. What other? Obviously, we know you've moose and you've wolves and bear and stuff. But what caribou? Do you get caribou there or no?
Oh yeah. I'm kind of known as like a pretty big trophy hunter for moose. I'm pretty selective. My wife is known for Caribou Queen. She's that's kind of like her nickname against her friends and stuff. She's really picky, and I think she shot 5 caribou, and all of them have made Boone and Crockett. Like she's really, really, really into caribou.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. She could care less about moose and stuff like that, but yeah, huge into caribou. And then we don't have any deer near us, but Kodiak has Sitka blacktail deer. And then southeast Alaska has quite a bit of black-tailed deer as well.
Right.
Good stuff, man.
Have you ever been over this side of the world to do any hunting, or Europe or anywhere like that?
No, I haven't. I get offers all the time. My thing, I get offers like I never knew until I actually had an airplane, but everyone says get an airplane, then you're gonna have all the friends in the world. Like, holy shit, is that true? Like everyone wants to be your buddy. Even if you're a brand new pilot and you don't know anything and you could easily kill them, they still want to be your friend. And I got a career of being a commercial pilot and not killing anyone, knock on wood. And so I get a lot of people that want to be my buddy. And so I'm really apprehensive. I'm like, hey, come hunt over here, this and that. I'm like, oh, well, what's in it for you? Because I don't want to ever feel guilt tripped or whatever and stuff. So I get a lot of invites and stuff to do that. Argentina, New Zealand. I just don't have Africa. I get a ton of Africa. And it sounds really bad. Africa looks super cool. It doesn't turn my crank or get my dick hard, whatever you guys say over there,
Yeah.
it doesn't get me excited to go and do that. Like the coolest stuff in the world I can think of doing is the stuff I'm doing right here out of my backyard. And like I'm going on a Dall sheep hunt in a couple weeks solo with my airplane, with my tools. I'm meeting a buddy up there, but he's got his own airplane and we're going to kind of split and do our things. But to me, that's the coolest thing I can do right now. Like, why would I turn down Dall sheep to go say, I'm going to go sit a water hole in Africa and use my time away from my kids and my money and my resources to do that? Like, to me, that doesn't make sense. When I'm too old to sheep hunt and my body doesn't work, I'll go to Africa.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
no,
we probably have slightly different over here because we have we've only 3 species of deer. The biggest fucking thing with teeth is a fox. So we have to go a little bit further afield for hunting some of the bigger animals. But yeah, so we have to go to mainland Europe and places like that. But if we want to do that type of stuff, but yeah, no, it's pretty awesome. Like as you say, it's kind of like you have if you have a beautiful wife, yeah, and you're looking out the window at something else. Why would you? You've some of the best hunting in the world over there. Why the fuck would you go somewhere else?
mhm.
I'm
That's
saying that.
that's kind
I'm
of what I'm
saying that.
saying.
Saying that, man. If you're ever in Ireland and this is no fucking strings attached, yeah, absolutely feel free to come over and look at what we have to. If you're in Dublin, everyone knows fucking Dublin, but we're a little bit further in the Midland. And if you ever are that neck of the woods, you're more than welcome to come out and
I'd
have a
love to, but
show with us.
can I legally be in Ireland and not drink beer? I mean, I'm pretty sure you have to.
Look,
No,
we'll
there's just a certain part of the airport you go to if you don't want to drink beer. Come over here.
Fucking wankers, right? That's what I'll be called.
No, you'd be safe enough. It's a bit different now, so it is. Come here.
you'll be fine, but nobody will trust you. Nobody will
Yeah,
fucking trust you.
exactly. I think there's something wrong with you. The Dull sheep hunt. What's the story of that? I seen like we spoke about actually on a previous podcast we did with a guy about meat eater. We've like the thing about meat eater is it's opened up. Like loads of my mates watch meat eater. They don't own guns, they don't do hunting, they're not into it, but they'll watch meat eater and they're fascinated by it. And I remember there was one particular episode him and his brother went up, I think, after a Dull sheep hunt. I think they were unsuccessful, but that looks like some. See, that's a whole other level from what I've seen. It's not exactly like they're in abundance. Would it be fair to say that?
No, they're scattered out, especially now in Alaska. Dall sheep are pretty few and far between. Um, the best way to explain it is every year you go back. Sometimes I go back to the same places, and every year I try and train and I try and get my fat ass in shape. And every year I go back, and I'm like, dude, did the freaking mountains grow? Did they get bigger? Like, it's just insane where they live. And the bad part is sheep, like especially the rams, they live like at the very top. And so, my airplane allows me to go some pretty short, nasty places, and I can get relatively close to sheep. I'm talking like 5-10 miles. You're still walking up a drainage 5-10 miles and then climbing a couple thousand feet. You're trying to get above them. If you can get above sheep, they're not usually looking for danger coming from above because usually you're at the very top. So if you can get above them in the morning when they're kind of pulled down for water or feeding, that's good. But it's a very difficult animal to hunt. Not so much like the technical side, like deer or elk, but just physically where they live. and the places they go, and then the places they go to bed, which is usually really nasty, cliffy, rocky stuff, is really hard to get to and then traverse to. And then there's a lot of times you're hunting sheep. Depends on the mountain range in Alaska, but they're in such a gnarly spot that you can't shoot them because you're never going to get them out of there. So you can't shoot them because, like, you could shoot 400 or 500 yards up there, but they're going to fall into a cliff where you're never going to be able to go to. And I like breathing, so I try and be pretty conservative where I'm going to sheep hunt, because I've been in some risky situations, and it's like, man, I'm not having fun right now. This is like I'm just trying to stay alive.
Yeah. I come here, Adam. Just like I suppose there's a bone of contention, like in around the hunting community. Because some people consider themselves trophy hunters. Other people, primarily hunt for meat. And I heard on one of I think you brushed on it on one of the podcasts. I can't remember which one, but just it's probably similar to ourselves if I am correct. But you obviously utilize all the meat and the fur and so on and so forth and hides and so on. But you like to take the heads as kind of like mementos of your fucking hunt. So you can look up at the wall and say, I can remember where I was, the fucking hardship that I got to get that fucker out of there, the near death experience that you just spoke about there. Would I be correct in saying that, or have you a slightly different slant on that?
No, I think you really nailed it. There's a wall of moose in my hanger. I got like 10 bulls hanging up, and I can't remember what my wife said, what meeting we have to go to next week, but I'll tell you everywhere each moose died, how they died, how far the shot was, what happened, how far they ran after the shot, how I called them in, what the bull did. And the meat from those animals has long since passed. And my kids have ate it. They've shit it out. It's somewhere in the septic system, right? And the only memory I have of those grueling experiences that suck, like and sometimes it's just plain miserable, as you guys know. Hunting's not always super fun. And those antlers are the last memory I have of that animal, that in a picture. And so to me, that's really important and special. On the other side, I've tagged out day one on a deer, and it was like, well, this is cool, but now I'm done. I'm done the first hour, which is cool if it's a super giant trophy. But if it's not, you kind of sit there and you ask yourself as you reflect the rest of the season, like, well, I could still be out hunting, but now I don't have any more tags because I killed this okay animal. But I've gotten better where I'm able to pass up some animals, especially on moose. I'll pass a lot of moose looking for the one I want. But like this year, I shot a really, really big 169-inch doll sheep last year. Probably the biggest ram I'll ever see in my life, let alone shoot. Am I going to try and beat that this year? You bet your sweet ass. Am I going to shoot just a legal ram because he's 8 years old or full curl? I might, because sheep hunting's really hard. If I hike my fat ass all the way to the top of the mountain, there's one sitting there, it's going to be a cool video. I might do that. And an 8-year-old full curl ram is definitely mature. That's why we're able to That's why we're able to kill an 8-year-old, is because there's not a harvestable surplus or anything after they turn 8, because they slowly start to die off, is what I was trying to get with that.
Yeah.
But that being said, I want to do better than I did last year, which is really, really unlikely because I shot a giant sheep. But I want to get something big, so I might pass on a few because I want to challenge myself.
Yeah. So I think there was some fucking idiot commenting on one of our pictures there that we had yourself on, and I generally don't get involved in it, but like it was something along that, like where obviously you're hunting an animal, you're utilizing the meat. Obviously you're putting up a fucking picture. We hunt. This is what we do, and we've made a conscious decision with the podcast when we started it that whether or not to go the politically correct route and fucking not post pictures. And we said, fuck it. Like we this is what we do. We're not ashamed of it. This is our life. And like what you said there, some of the most hardest grueling hunts that we've been on, are 100% the most fucking rewarding, because you're testing yourself, you're testing your skill against fucking nature, against you've everything going against you. And if you do manage to come up trumps, you're fucking elated, and why not? Same way as the same lady that's fucking commenting our post or whatever is probably looking at a photo album, this is our photo album, our fucking wall. Like you say, you can tell what buddy you're hunting with. And I'd like to think when we're 60, 70, 80, drinking a fucking whiskey, looking up at that wall, we'll still be able to remember and have a little bit of a smile on our face when we're doing it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you can tell Karen there and suck my dick bone for all I care for her sake. But my buddy Tyler Friel, he's got the Thunder Talk podcast up here. It's a really good one if you guys haven't checked that one out. But he made a really good statement one time, I think on one of his podcasts before, like the grip and grin. The photo with an animal with blood came out of its mouth or whatever. You try and tuck the tongue in there to make it. I want to make it look like it was right before I shot it. That's my goal in the picture. But Tyler said it best. He's like, that's the last time this will ever be an animal. We're about to cut it up into chunks of meat that we're going to take home and eat. And then it's no longer ever going to be an animal. All I have is this picture. So I'm going to do a lot to make this picture look good and get a lot of different angles and different things, not for the gram, because this is for my memory. This hunt that I hiked my balls off here, killed the sheep, and then, dislocated a shoulder coming out 20 miles back to the airstrip. Like, I'm going to remember when I look at that picture, I'm going to remember all the fun times I had and then how we almost died. So to me, that's a really, really great way to put it. That's the last time that will be an animal. And I'm gonna proudly showcase that picture because I'm proud of what I did. It's hard,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think you're probably like, if you look at some of the figures, like the population of people that the sheer mass amount of people that hunt in America and Canada and Alaska and stuff is huge. But unfortunately, over in Ireland, it's very, very small and getting smaller and getting pressurized from every angle. And we're unfortunate in a way that we see some of the media and stuff in America, and if someone tries to change some of the laws in regards to whether it be guns or hunting or stuff like that, there's absolute fucking outrage. But unfortunately, here, because the numbers are so small, they do make changes and make seasons in some cases smaller and non-existent, and they're just getting away with it, and it's bullshit. But that's why you have to fucking make the most of every single hunt. And as well as that, with kids and stuff like that, I'm a firm believer. Like my son, especially, he's only 8. Like, but I would bring him on nearly every hunt I go on, or most ones, because I want him to, get off his ass. I don't want him sitting around. I want him to be out exploring nature, wildlife, asking all the questions, being self-sufficient. I think it's just a fucking great way to rear kids, and I'm no expert on it, and maybe I'm doing it fucking arseways, but to me, I get great satisfaction out of bringing him out, spending the day or the weekend, out hunting, him asking me all these questions and him going into school Monday morning with, memories in his head that, to be honest, probably 90% of his classmates don't have or will ever have, so I love that aspect of it for me personally.
You guys don't need to lie. We all teach our kids how to hunt just so they won't grow up and have any money for cocaine and hookers, because they're going to spend all their money on hunting shit. That's true, right?
Yeah,
but no,
that
is partially true, because hunting gear, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of dollars I've spent on hunting gear, but it's a lot probably. But I feel the exact same way. Like my daughter, she's 15. She shot that giant moose, and we were looking for a legal moose. And she goes to a church dance, and I said, "How was the boys?" She's like, "They're cool. They weren't that cool though, Dad." I'm like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "What'd they do?" Like, they had a little speed dating thing at this church convention for like 14 to 17-year-old kids. And she sat down, "Hi, what do you do? This is my name. What do you do?" And most of those boys are freaking pussies. They just sit there and play video games. I'm like, how is that attractive? Literally, when I was in high school, I didn't tell a girl, "What'd you do?" "Oh, I went and picked up some elk sheds this weekend in my pickup. You want to go look for some elk sheds in the mountains?" Like, to me, if I was a chick, that would be cool. But I don't understand what these young guys are thinking of. Like, "Oh, I play Fortnite with my buddies and circle jerk," you know?
Fuck that.
And so I was like, "Well, okay, honey, what'd you say?" She's like, "Well, I told him I like to kill big moose with my dad." And I'm like, "Atta girl." So I was a proud daddy.
Yeah, that's fucking wicked.
Absolutely.
That's fucking wicked. That is wicked.
That's brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant. Adam, we're getting a bit tight in time, and I don't want to be holding you up. I know you're a busy man, and you're getting ready for this stall sheep hunt, which is top of the list of things I'd like to do at some stage in my life if I ever get over that side of the world. So I won't delay you much longer, but thanks an absolute million for coming on to the Irish Hunting Podcast. I am gonna be a bit cheeky here, and I am gonna ask you, would you maybe come on again at some stage? Because I just like you sound like a lad that I could talk to for fucking hours, and that is just being honest with you, because I like your no bullshit stance on things. Do you know? You're not trying to. You're not trying to.
Yeah, I'm good for as long as you guys want to go today, and I'd be thrilled to come back on. You guys have been a hoot. I've done a lot of these. and you guys have been great. It's been fun. I love just like talking about hunting, and I I get a lot of people that they see me on Instagram, this and that, and they'll see me and they think you're some superstar, and I'm just a regular freaking dude. For whatever reason, I kill big moose, and people want to follow along. That's cool, but it's like I just want to be a real person. You know, there's a lot of fake people online, and they play this persona, and you meet them, and they're a total introvert or they're a total bitch offline. Won't give you the time of day, and I don't want to be that person. Like I said in the beginning, I could give a shit how many followers I have. My main job in life, God has blessed me with being a father. That's my number one job. My second job is just to be a good person and treat other people how I want to be treated, you know? And so that's kind of my MO. I'm not trying to like pump myself up or anything, but I'm just trying to be the same guy on the internet as the same guy here and the same guy you meet when I come to Dublin.
Well, that's absolutely, man. That's like I can attest to that. We got in contact with you. We've got in contact with loads of hunters. We just want to have a chat with like-minded people, and we try and touch different corners of the world. And you got back in touch with us straight away. And we've got into contact with hunters who wouldn't have the same following and all that type of stuff that you have. And it's like fucking trying to talk to the president, you know, of the US, you know, you get fucking closer to them quicker. So we can attest to that. You've been nothing but a gentleman to us, down to earth. And for anyone who doesn't know, I know you don't give a shit about any of the other stuff, but stuck in a rut. I'm addicted to it at the minute. I'm making my way through some of the episodes again, and it's Grenda89 on Instagram. Check him out. It's yeah, it's some pretty fun. It's a fun way of looking at hunting. You get a bit of a giggle in there as well, as some pretty cool animals. So fair play to you, man.
Absolutely, man. Yeah.
Try to keep it light, you know. Like I'm assuming you guys, when you go with your buddies, most of our hunting is just constantly making fun of each other, shit talking, movie quotes, and then when it's time to get real, everyone gets real. Like boom, right now.
Yeah,
but that's a 1% of the time that everyone else is just making fun of each other, because that's how guys express our love for our buddies. We call them a fucking idiot.
No,
you
yeah,
know?
absolutely, man. Yeah,
We don't say your hair looks good today, Charlene. We say you're a freaking retard. Why would you do that?
yeah. I always remember, and I keep bringing up Australia, but I remember one thing I used to love about the Australians was they used to live by it. So you call your mates cunt, and you call cunts mate. So that's
it's totally weird. Yeah.
It is, you know. So the lad that you respect the most, how you'll know he means the world is you will just absolutely abuse the shit out of him and take the piss out of him, and that's how you know.
I'm going to get a bit of shit for this, but like this is, I don't think I've said this in the podcast, but I have a mate and he's dyslexic, you know, and I'll send him messages fucking all kinds of fucked up backwards and everything. So like decode this motherfucker.
Yeah, that's exactly how me and my buddies are. Like I mean, like my buddy Justin Schaefer, like he'll send me at least once a month. He'll say, you know, before you point fingers and criticize people, just remember you're probably still a piece of shit. Like once a month, you know, just to make sure you know that you're a piece of shit.
Yeah, absolutely. On that note, man, it's been a fucking pleasure. Fair fucking play to you. We really enjoyed that, man. And can't wait to have you back on again.
And the best of luck with your dog sheep hunt, man.
Yeah, we should do one like this November or something like that after hunting season, and we can tell some war stories. I want to hear from you guys, and I'd be happy to come back on, and I appreciate you guys having me.
Deadly stuff, man. Can't wait.
Adam, thanks a million again, man, and we'll be talking in not too distant future, man. All right.
Okay, thanks, boys.
Take it easy, man. Cheers. Bye bye.
Okay.